Hello, hello! This is the first part of our video reviewing all of Unit 8, which is solving for expressions. This is primarily for my standard math class to help with the assignments assigned for 3-16 to 3-23. This is going to be part 1 of a series of videos to get you caught up in this section. For this part, we have, for starters, order of operations. Now, this is not strictly a 6th grade unit. This is something that's introduced, I believe, as far back as the 3rd or 4th grade. It is following PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. And I did space these out intentionally this way. P stands for parentheses. First and foremost, you will always deal with parentheses first. Okay? Parentheses, always first. That does not change, ever. There is no situation where you don't do parentheses first unless it is for a unless you are following a separate rule like a property. The second thing that happens is exponents. This is always second. This will always come once you are finished with all of your parentheses in a given expression or equation. Now, the second one, people often get confused, and I wrote M and D very close together, and I'm going to draw a red arrow underneath it, and under A and S for addition subtraction. The reason I do that is the third thing you do is either multiplication or division. And the reason I put them side by side, the reason they have an arrow pointing from left to right for them, is you do whatever is first when reading the problem from left to right. You do not always automatically do multiplication first. That is not true. A lot of elementary school teachers teach that way, simply because it is more straightforward and it leads to less confusion at that younger age. You guys are at the age where you need to start understanding that multiplication or division happens first depending on where it is in the problem. In the event that you have a math problem that has, say, 16 divided by 2 times 7, you are supposed to do the 16 divided by 2 before multiplying for that problem. You will not do multiplication first. That's why I group them together and include that little arrow. Like I said with multiplication and division, you can probably guess addition and subtraction follows that same rule. The very last thing you will do in a math problem is either addition or subtraction. And once again, you will do what is first when reading from left to right. You do not automatically do addition before subtraction. You may, in some circumstances, do subtraction before your addition in a given math problem. For order of operations. Right, okay, sorry. Just paused the recording to grab some order of operations practice, but before I do, something that I have not mentioned that I really should have mentioned by this point in the video is exponents. And what they are, how they are solved. You have got two basic parts. Let's say I have a 3 to the power of 4. If I write 3 to the power of 4, this number down here is my base. This number is the exponent. And what this whole problem means, 3 to the 4th power, is that means that 3 is being multiplied 4 times. That is 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. This does not equal 12. Okay? This is going to be 3 times 3. 3 times 3, that's going to be 9. Times 3 again. We multiply the 9 times 3. That gives me 27. And then we have that 27 times 3. That gives me a final answer of not 12, not even close. That gives me 81. 27 times 3 will equal 81. This is how exponents are intended to work. Exponents do not function as repeated addition. Instead, an exponent is the same as repeated multiplication. That is what an exponent is. It is not repeated addition, it is repeated multiplication, and this is how it should be written out. Now on to the example problems. When dealing with order of operations, it's important to, 1, make sure you show what steps you are doing from part to part. I like to use a blue erasable pen, or if that is not okay, I'm a math teacher, so naturally I never make any mistakes ever. So I'm going to use a non-erasable pen, because I'm brave like that. And I'm going to underline each step of the way what I am doing. For number 1, for order of operations, following PEMDAS, the first thing I am supposed to do is my parentheses. So everything in here happens first. But within that set of parentheses, there is something that needs to happen first. We will do 13 plus 25 first in parentheses. 13 plus 25 should give me 38, and then I will take that 38 and subtract 2. 38 minus 2 gives me 36, so that's what I will write. Everything inside those parentheses equaled 36. And then I'll just rewrite the rest of the problem. Divide by 3 plus 4 to the 2nd power. That division sign didn't show up too well. That's better. So next, what happens after my parentheses? Exponents. I have to do the 4 to the 2nd power next. So 4 to the 2nd power, that is the same as 4 multiplied 2 times. So 4 squared, that is the same as 4 times 4. And 4 times 4 equals 16. I'll rewrite the rest of my problem because it has not changed. The next step I am supposed to do, after my exponents, is either multiplication or division, whichever comes first. I don't have any multiplication, so I'm going to do division first. 36 divided by 3. If I were to write out 36 divided by 3, I should get 12. So that is what I got for that. And that is 12 plus 16, which gives me a final answer of 28. If we've done the problem right, it should all fit within a rough triangle and a little upside down triangle. If at any point we start working and this triangle starts getting bigger and bigger, it means we are messing up. It means we are making mistakes because our answer should be getting smaller as we progress. Number 2, we're going to do the same kind of steps, except this time we have a bit of a complication. We have an exponent inside of my parentheses. That isn't really much of a complication. We're still going to do our parentheses first, just within our parentheses. We can take care of this since it's in its own set of parentheses. But over here, we're going to start by doing 5 to the second power before anything else. 5 to the second power is the same as 5 times 5, which is 25. And we still have 10 plus 47 minus that 25 divided by -2 plus 4. If you wanted to, you can use the commutative property to rearrange that and do 4 minus 2 instead, which should give me 2. From here, the second step we're going to do is within our parentheses, we will do addition or subtraction, whatever comes first, going from left to right. Addition seems to come first. We'll do 10 plus 47. That gives me 57 minus 25 divided by 2. From here, we do 57 minus 25 because it is still in parentheses. Once you do that, you should end up with 32 divided by 2, which equals 16. I should point out, this particular unit, order of operations included, is not intended to be calculator active. All of this needs to either be mental math or written out like this on paper, ideally with a pencil. If you'd like, you can go ahead and pause the video now and work some of these out, and I will be coming back in just a moment to do, well, to more or less show you the answer key. So pause the video now because the answer key is coming in 3, 2, 1. And by the power of movie magic, we have the answer key to the whole rest of the worksheet. Voila! This is all that order of operations is intended to be. In number 3, for example, the first thing they did was take care of that exponent. The second thing that they did was they took care of the multiplication in parentheses. Then they finished their parentheses before moving on to their multiplication and then addition. In this problem down here, they took care of their parentheses first, while also taking care of this piece of our parentheses here. From there, they moved on, and they would complete their parentheses on this side and complete the parentheses on this side before adding everything together to get 92. Number 6, they completed their addition within parentheses before moving on to their exponent. At the same time, they had done their division of these parentheses before moving on to addition, and then finally finishing the problem by adding their 2 remaining numbers. Number 7, exponent first within parentheses, multiplication within parentheses, addition within parentheses, multiplication, no parentheses remain, and finally addition. Number 8 has an exponent within parentheses. They then followed it up with their addition within parentheses. From there, they followed up with their subtraction before division. And finally, number 9, they began with their exponent. They really shouldn't have done that, but they got lucky. Everything else was isolated from their exponent. They should have done their 2 parentheses first. However, they waited until step 2 to do that. At any rate, they did their multiplication before subtraction, so that's good. And then they did their subtraction last to get 176. This is all that goes into order of operations. What is required for it is space to work below your problem, and a willingness to rewrite the problem as you go. Even if you typically do not make a mistake, writing out a problem like this shows what you are doing, so that way if you check an answer key and see that your problem was wrong, you can then go back and re-review where you might have made a mistake. Not to mention, it's important to note that very frequently on the EOG and tests that I have made, there will be questions showing an order of operations problem and asking what step needs to be taken next. And if you are accustomed to writing out these problems, you're far more likely to catch what is and isn't normal for this type of problem. And this is all there is to order of operations. There is a truckload more to come. This is just part 1 of a series of videos that will be coming out to cover all of Unit 8. So be on the lookout for the rest, and good luck. Don't forget, finish that stuff that I put up on Google Classroom. I'm out.